Welcome back to News Channel 9 at 6. Native Americans first introduced the harvest feast, the one we associate now with the meal we share on Thanksgiving. While it brings to mind warm images, this time of year is a painful reminder for Native Americans.
This month marks the 175th anniversary of the Trail of Tears. News Channel 9's Beth Newhoff has a story of a local woman who spent more than 30 years researching the history of the Trail of Tears and her personal connection to that history.
Today in Chattanooga, this land along Amnicola Highway is a scene of industry and fast food. But that wasn't always the case.
Native Americans shared this land long before white Arrow industry arrived. During the summer of 1838, life as they knew it was about to change.
Not many people realized the Cherokee lived in wooden homes, printed their own newspaper, even modeled their government's constitution on our own. Shirley Hoskins headed to Oklahoma to trace her father's Cherokee roots. That trip brought her back to Tennessee.
I had a 10-year-old grandmother on the Trail of Tears. I was lucky enough to find where she was buried out west in Oklahoma.
She's since written several books on Cherokee history.
These are valuations of what the Indians owned at the time, like the size of their house, the size of their property, and if they owned any ferries, or some did.
Cherokee owned much of the land in the southeast by the 19th century. In 1827, President Andrew Jackson set up the seizure of their lands and ultimate removal.
The federal government started first over here in South Carolina and took this little bit, then they took that little bit.
The large database of Cherokee genealogy at Chattanooga's public library held a wealth of emotional family clues.
I was able to find where my great-grandmother, Lucinda, was given a blanket and a pair of shoes as when she was in the stockades.
Almost 2,000 Cherokee died from inhumane conditions in the stockades.
The conditions, they were out in the rain. When it rained, there was no shelter for them at all, and it made me feel really sad and angry, really, that they did that to them.
There was anger with Cherokee Major John Ridge for signing the removal treaty, and it was Shirley's relative who drew the short straw.
I was talking to Dwayne King, and I asked him if he knew anything about Joseph Spears. And he said, well, yes, he killed John Ridge. And I said, oh, really?
The Cherokee Removal Park at Blythe Ferry recently unveiled a new memorial. Hoskins wanted a place to remember those who were here first.
But sometimes I get to thinking that it was really meant for me to do all this.
She located her Cherokee grandfather's 640 acres, bought a piece of it, and built a home, bringing Shirley Hoskins full circle. Beth Newhoff, News Channel 9.
Interesting story, interesting part of American history, also interesting part of the history of our area as well. Chattanooga Library, a good place to search Native American genealogy.
And you'll need to know of a Cherokee relative who was an adult in the year 1906.